All right, it looks like we are live on YouTube at least. And yeah, just a slow day today, kind of getting caught up on some stuff. And I thought it might be fun to look at something a little bit different today on the live stream. Let me go live on Amazon real quick here too. And I'm always looking for ways to more quickly scan all of my old photos and stuff. And I've got this big box of photo negatives here. Let me just charge my phone up real quick while we're chatting. I got this big box of photo negatives, and I thought it might be fun to find a way to more quickly scan these in. Now you can of course buy dedicated scanners, and it's always been a really unpleasant experience for me scanning in all of this stuff because it takes forever. Like we've looked at a whole bunch of scanners that do negatives. I'm just clearing off my desk here a little bit. But they're never very quick. So I was on Amazon the other day, and what I came across, sorry, I'm just getting a little organized here. I came across this thing called the mobile phone film scanner. And this is from Kodak, quote unquote. And I'm not sure if you're aware, but what Kodak does is they license out their likeness. And this is really nothing special. It's a stand or a holder or something for your phone, and you can hold it at a height high enough that you can get the phone to take a picture of the negative, and the negative is illuminated by a little light bar or light box that's inside of this thing. That's kind of the gist. And it costs more than I think it should cost. And you can click on the Amazon link to see what it looks like. So, let's just take a look at it. And, if it works, it might be a fun project for somebody to do, right? I mean, if it's simple, quick, and fast, right, it might be kind of fun. And I have both black and white negatives and color negatives. And there might be some fun ones in there of technology past. So let's take it out of the box here and see what you get. So you got a user manual. And I'm wondering how much of this product is Kodak, like the name, the licensing. So there's a hole here for your camera lens. And this is going to be tricky because I've got an iPhone with 3 cameras on it. So I guess you got to arrange the correct lens. You have a scanner base, which I'm assuming is the top of the box here. I think this is all made out of cardboard. We'll find out. You have your negative slide tray, there's a light switch, and there's a battery compartment that requires 2 AA batteries, and batteries are not included. So we're going to have to track down some batteries real quick. And I think I might have a pair of batteries. Oh, I know where I have batteries. Where did it go? I have batteries in my Newton that we were doing on the wrap-up video the other day, and I don't think I put it away just yet. In fact, I have 4 batteries in there, although I do have some recharge. Here it is. I think it might just be more fun to take my batteries out of my Newton. If you missed the weekly wrap-up, you could check that out and see me talking about this thing. So this is the Apple Newton that I did a comparative with the iPad on. All right, so we've got some people joining us on the chat. Let me say hello to everyone on the YouTube side. We're on Amazon also, if you want to click over there and watch us there. So we have Vania, Francois Hagrin, Arif is here, Airpix Radio, Fast Too Furious, hasn't seen a film negative like that since they were a kid, over 15 years. SC Scout Guy has an Epson Perfection V500 that scans them pretty fast depending on the quality. Yes, I have one of those too. I do have one of those. And what I've been looking for is something that I can just go super rapid fire with and not have a lot of back and forth. And that's been kind of what I've been trying to get at here with this stuff. And I'm not sure this is going to do it, but it looked fun. And I was like, this would make for a fun live stream. Now I'm going to tell you that the build quality on this is exactly what it looks like. It is made out of cardboard. It's like the high strength kind of cardboard. So this is not a well-built product. I'm not sure what the longevity of it's going to be. So We'll see how all this comes together when I put everything together here. But it literally is, you literally operate this from within the box in which it comes. So take that for what it's worth. And we got some other folks here. Aaron Johnson, William Wilkinson, Chanflay98, hyped for Flight Simulator. It's funny you should mention Flight Simulator. I just got done watching the video that our friends at Digital Foundry did on Flight Simulator. It looks very interesting. I have Game Pass, so I'm going to have it as soon as it is released, I think next week. It's going to be fun. So, yeah, so this is something that, and this is a point that SC Scout Guy is pointing out. You could easily 3D print this, I am sure. So let's put it all together here. And I'm not sure where these, let's see, let me look at the manual here to make sure I've got this whole thing put together correctly. It shouldn't be that complicated, but I have a way of complicating things very well. So that goes in there, and you've got these two flaps that hang down like this. And I don't know how you prevent light from bleeding into the, especially my studio lights here. All right, so let me go through the rest of the thing. All right, install the batteries, unfold the legs, which we did, and then pull the wings inward so that the tab on one sits on the slot of the other as illustrated. Okay, so I've got to, oh, I see. There we go. It gives us some rigidity. All right, so we'll put it together like that. All right. So that is your, I'll give you another shot at this. That's what it looks like. A lot of people are asking, this is a mobile film scanner. So this is a negative scanner that uses your smartphone. That's what we're putting together here. And it will scan slides and 35mm film. And there's an app that it goes with, which we'll look at in a second here. So there's a switch here to turn it on, I think. Where is that switch? Because the batteries are right here. Is there a switch somewhere? So it has like a little, it's like a little light box is really what it is. Operations, put those in there. Where's the light switch? How do you turn this thing on? Power on the scanner. Flip the power switch on the bottom of the scanner. So there's a, there it is. Okay, so there's a switch here on the bottom. And apparently it was on, because now it's off. Seriously, is that? I don't know if it's working. Did I put the batteries in wrong? Let's see. Let's pull this back off here again. Like I said, this is not the most well-built product I've ever seen, but I've got the batteries in correctly here. Yeah, those are in correctly. We're going to have to solder something together to make this work. Let's see. So if I turn on, yeah, it's not coming on at all. This might be a real short video, everybody. That thing's supposed to light up. It's not lighting up. It could be that these batteries are dead. So let me go grab a couple more batteries. But I don't think they're dead. This is like an LED light. It shouldn't be that complicated. So I'll put these batteries right here. And I've got a couple of rechargeables. Where did my rechargeables go? There they are. Okay, so let's plug these things in real quick here and see what happens. All right, so let's put these in and see if we get a different outcome now. These are freshly charged. There we go. Now it's lit up. So that's what it's supposed to do. So those batteries were depleted. I didn't think they were depleted, but they were. Okay, so now, as you can see, it is lit up. And if I turn off the switch on the bottom here, it's off. So we're going to take out a negative. And I thought I would start with some black and white negatives. And this is the first one I want to look at. This is actually going to be kind of a fun one. Now, pardon the mess here, But I think this might be, I think this is my, I'm just looking at it real quick to try to guess what it's going to be. I think this might be my basements from when I was in high school. That's how old this stuff was, because I took a photography class in high school. So this is going to be like 1993 or so. And what we're going to do, I'm just trying to see if it's emulsion side up or not. So open the app, feed it through the tray as shown. Okay, so it doesn't say whether it's emulsion side up or the other, so we'll just experiment here and see what we get. So I'm just going to slide the negative in there. And if I switch to my other camera here, you can see that it's broken through there. So now, what I'm going to do is load up their app, and I downloaded the app already. And so what we can do here is we got to get the camera positioned in a second, but we can do color negative, color positive, or black and white negative. So we're going to do black and white negative. And now we got to find the camera, because remember, this phone has 3 cameras on it. So what am I looking at? So that's the hole, but I don't see anything here. Okay, there we go. All right, so it's picking up an image, but it's very tiny. So I'm not sure which of the iPhone's cameras it is picking up on, but that's what it's getting. Yeah, this is definitely, here, let's take a picture here and see what we get. So I'll get it aligned here, and we'll just take the picture. Okay, so it's got some basic editing that comes up after this. So I could do exposure, whatever. I'm just going to hit OK, and I think what I'm going to do is download this into my photo library. And oh yeah, this is my garage, and I'm betting you that most of that stuff is still out there. So let's go load this. I'm going to give you an image. I'll turn this off for a second. I'm going to bring this image into my photo library, and I should be able to pull it up on the computer here. It should feed over through iCloud here. So let's try that real quick. It's not bad. I mean, it's what I expected it to kind of look like, but we'll take a closer look here in a second. All right, so hopefully this synced up with iCloud. This should be a pretty quick sync. And if not, I'll just fire it over to my laptop here, and you can take a look at it. So that's pretty cool. And I'll tell you what all the things are in the picture. And we'll see what that looks like. So Eric Bowen is here, friend of mine from college. Who else we got? Tom Mendenhall watched Blue Thunder last night and says I resemble Roy Scheider. I guess that's a compliment. I appreciate that. Thank you. Clifford Gallagher is here. I'm doing great. Fast Too Furious says Airwolf is better than Blue Thunder. I was a big Airwolf fan as a kid. That was a pretty, you think about the budget for that show. They had to like customize a helicopter for that, right? I mean, they put stuff on a helicopter. It wasn't that complicated, but it probably was not easy for them to do. All right, bear with me, folks. I'm just trying to get my laptop synced up here. What I'll do actually is just pull in my phone over NDI while we're waiting for that image. So let me grab my phone's NDI capture, and we're going to pull this up on the computer screen here. But I think we got a pretty decent, I mean, it's a decent enough image. It's going to be as good as your phone image, I guess. And I guess, too, that you could, Top Tier Scientist wants to know, what's the use of this product? What you would use this for is for scanning your old negatives. And I'm going to show you what I just scanned here in a second. So give me 1 second. I'm just going to pull my phone in so I can show you what I am looking at. NDI, and we're going to go over to my phone. This is actually going to be kind of fun because the image that is on my phone here, let me go in and edit the, here, let me show you what I'm looking at. So I'm going to edit this, and we're just going, this is in the Apple photo app, so I'm just going to rotate this. Give me 1 second here. So let's get it rotated in the right direction. There we go. Done. And I've got to crop it and do all that other good stuff to it. But this is the image that was on that scanner. Now this picture was probably taken in 1993 or 94. The quality here is not great. It should be, you're seeing all those artifacts and stuff. So this is just my phone that took this. And I'm wondering if my other phone that I've got here, this, I'll other iPhone that I have might do better. But let's take a look at what it found. So here's a model rocket that looks like it flew a few times. Next to it is the box, and I still have this modem. This is so I'm just trying to figure out the date on this. It's definitely like 93 or so when I ran a BBS. So that box went to the modem that I was using for the BBS. That was a 14.4 modem. Actually, yeah, the 1440FX. Below that is the box for, I think, my Apple IIc monitor stand. I recognize that box. The NEC box was my I've not seen this picture in 20 years, but I remember everything in it here. The NEC was my CD-ROM drive from back in the day. 2X CD-ROM, some paper towels in there, bike, the dead television. That's pretty cool, isn't it? And there's some beach chairs. Those are the beach chairs we used to take with us to the beach. That is cool. So yeah, this was a black and white. So let's take a look and see what else I've got in here. We'll try a color one next and see how it does. So let's go over to, let me pull this one out. And let's try another one. This was a good one. Jake is joining us here. My cat Food is here. Hello. Tom Enderhall first modem was a external 300 baud from Radio Shack. I had it was a applied engineering internal modem. And that was running, here's a good one. This might work pretty good. This is like the beach at wintertime. This is a color negative we're going to try next. I had an internal modem for my Apple IIc, or for my Apple II GS, and then it also worked on the IIe. That's what I was using. But there was something wrong with it. It was getting terrible line noise on it. It was quite frequent. All right, so we're going to get that aligned here. And then we're going to take my phone out. I'm going to go back to that Kodak app here. And let's go back. Yeah, now the other thing with Kodak is that whenever you buy a product that's labeled Kodak, this is not a Kodak product. This is a product that's made by somebody else and licensed by Kodak. Although I like the idea of this. You know, I look at stuff like, okay, is this something that's going to be easy for a consumer to do? And I will tell you, I've been looking for an easy negative scanner for some time. And not to say that this is going to be the negative scanner. I think we may get a better image this time because this seems to be, all right, so I got to figure out, so what you have to do is you have to align the camera here, and I don't know which camera it's pulling from. So it looks like it's pulling from this lens on the iPhone. Let me just clean it real quick and nice. Okay, so it's the top lens. I'm guessing that's like your standard wide-angle lens. The problem is that I would like to be able to choose my lens for this. And you would think they would have this like set at a set rate here, because you have to kind of like futz around with it until you get it in view. And I'm not even sure what I'm looking at here either. So that must be the edge of the. You see how it's got like some reflection on it too? So it's like reflecting in. I may want to turn this way. Okay, there we go. That's doing better. Okay, so let's get that aligned. But what's interesting is that because of how the camera works on this phone, this is so weird. Oh, I see. You know, I'm picking up the wrong thing here. So this is where it needs to be positioned, right here. There we go. Okay. And it's coming into play now. Okay, I think this is how we're supposed to do it. So let's take a picture of that. And this was a color negative. Well, that color is overly saturated. I guess it wasn't a winter picture, but it doesn't look very good. Hang on, let's take another. Make sure I selected the right thing. Yeah, I did color negative, right? Let's try it again. I almost wonder if we're better off just using the internal camera app, because it's got like some filter setting. Oh, there we go. So this is adjusting the color. Okay, so we can adjust the color with this. But I don't like any of these adjustments. None of them look right. Just look how saturated that looks. Let's just try it and see what happens. Okay, so we'll just take that. That looks terrible. This is the app that they're using. So I wonder if there's like other negative apps we could play around with. Yeah, here, I'll pull this one up on screen for you. You can take a look at this one. So let's go. And by the way, I buy this stuff because it's fun to see. Because like if this thing turns out to be great, like, you know, what a great fun little video this would turn out to be. And it may not be that great, but we'll see. So let me show you what I'm looking at here. So this is what it sends over. And then I can, yeah, the color looks terrible on this. So why don't we go back and take another picture. I almost feel like I want to find another app that does a better job of what this thing's supposed to be doing and see where it goes. So let me grab some more. Let's see what else we got in here. I'm just looking for some stuff that's cool because I often took pictures of my technology as a kid. It looks like a boatyard or something. It's weird. I have like weird memories of taking these pictures, and this was like so long ago. I was trying to see what this is. So this looks like, yeah, I think I remember when we did this. Cause I think I took video the same day I did pictures. So here's another black and white one. Let's pull this one in here and see what this is. And we'll pop that in here like that. The black and white ones seem to be doing better than the color ones do because it puts on some weird filter. So let's do black and white negative again. And we'll get the camera lens aligned here. And there we go. All right, so let me take a overhead view. And this looks like, oh, this is the train yard in my town. We have a classic steam train where I live. Now on here, this adjusts like the black level. See that? So I could bring that down a little bit, make it a little bit darker. So I had this photography class, and so we did a lot of these things. So now what we should probably do, because the photo app here is terrible, and I don't know if paying $40 for a cardboard light box is really worth it, but I'm curious if there is a scanner app on the iPhone or Android, negative scanner. So I'm going to look and see. Yeah, there's a bunch of them on here. But you know what the problem with these are is that you get into these situations like where these apps, they're free to start, but then they want you to do a, so this is what we're using here, the Kodak mobile film scanner, which goes with this. But they get you into this thing where they want you to do a subscription. This is kind of neat. So this is when you take a picture of, you know, $6, but it doesn't have very good ratings. So you know, they want you to take a picture of your negatives, which is fine, but then they get you on, let me download this one real quick. So I just want to see if there's a better option that might work better with this box. Because I like the idea of having the light box, and we'll see what it looks like. So Fast and Furious is a piece of cardboard with some LEDs for $40. Yeah, this is like one of those things where I think the Kodak license, I mean, you got to admit, it looks good, right? It looks like something you would have bought for your camera back in the day, right? So let me skip this. So I'm gonna see, yeah, so this is this competing app. What they want you to do is try free and subscribe, and you have to pay a fortune for it. Because I wonder if I could get a better image. Let me go to my regular camera app here. And we'll just take a picture with the regular camera. So, interesting. So it's doing like a digital zoom because, check this out. Let me go up to the 3 here. So the app they're using, this is the same camera, the 1X camera, but it was digitally zooming it in to fit in that space. So you're getting, look, this is what you get natively, which is not good. What they should do is go to the 2X lens, because then you're not going to have a digital zoom. You're going to have a much clearer image. But of course, this doesn't do the negative conversion, but I think we could probably find a way to do that. So I think Pixelmator on my Mac will do that. So I'm going to take a quick picture here. Let's get that nice and Boom, grab that. And then, now that I've got the image, we can go to my Mac here. Let's try a different way of doing this. And I think I may save you all some money. Because it was digitally zooming it, so you're losing detail, right? Because the sensor is being digitally zoomed. So I don't think it was cropping it. But let's see, because we have a copy of this image here. So I'm just going to forward this over to my Mac with AirDrop here. Let's wait for it to pull up on the list. Go to AirDrop, Lon's MacBook. Now I'm going to pull up my screen so you can see what I'm looking at. So let's go over to my display 1 on my Mac. And I think I've got Pixelmator on here. Yeah, I do. And let's pull that up and see if we can work more with this. And this poor little Mac is going to get brought to its knees on this, because the Mac is getting old. It's my little 12-inch MacBook, and it is hurting these days. So let's go into, and I'll show you what I'm looking at in 1 second here. Let me just pull the image up. Okay, so Pixelmator is kind of a, and let me get rid of Chrome for a second here. So I'm going to put the chat window away for just a second, everybody. I'll come back and chat with you all in a minute. Let me close this out. I'm going to free up some RAM here. Going to get rid of that one. Close that. Okay, so now let's go in and see what we took. So this is the image that we just took with the native phone app. And what I did is I used the 2x lens on the iPhone for this. So it's a little higher quality image. So let's go and do, oops. So we're going to do a, by the way, let me just turn on my Do Not Disturb here in a minute too. So let's rotate the canvas 90 degrees left. All right, so there you go. And what I'm going to do now is just crop the image here. I didn't have the foam perfectly straight either. Now remember, we have a negative right now, so I think there's a way in Pixelmator to convert this from negative to positive. Let me see if there's a way to do that. Like a reverse polarity or some kind of thing like that. Now, what's interesting is that you can see some of the chemical marks on here. So I used to develop my own film in high school. And maybe somebody knows Pixelmator can suggest, let's see, color profile. Let's see if there's a way to force this. Image, color adjustments. Oh yeah, here's how I would do it. So there should be desaturate, invert. Here we go. Boom. And this is a black and white image. I like how I kind of put a sepia tone on that. Isn't that cool? So now we have a workflow. Because now if I grab like a regular image here and just put it in, let's go and do one more thing on here. So I think if we do, we should be able to convert this to a black and white image. Let's see, exposure, light and dark, place color, black and white. Boom. So two filters. Looks a little better, but it's still fuzzy. I mean, this is not the ideal way to scan a negative. But I was thinking maybe the iPhone camera would do better with that. But now we've got a workflow. So maybe what we'll do now is try another color one in a second here. So let me see if I can find some other color ones. And let's see if we can do a little better with this. And bear with me. Let me pull up your chat window here so we can keep an eye on what's going on. So I'm going to pull out, so these are kind of boring because they're just like dead trees and stuff there. Yeah, so every once in a while you come up with a dud, and I think this is one of those times. But I've got some interesting photos here, so maybe there'll be some interesting things that I will find in my my bag here, because we already found, out of my little case, we've already found some pictures that I was not anticipating finding. Some old technology. That's pretty cool. Let's see what we got here. We've got, that's another one of my poorly, what is that? It's like 2 on top of that one. Yeah, that one's not very good either. So we'll keep digging around here, see what we find. So John Richardson says the Kodak P series scanners take film and slides and are faster and easier for the whole strip at once. Yeah, see what I want, that's what I want, is I want something that, like I said, I was not expecting this to be that. But what I was really looking for, and have been for some time, is one of these things that can just take a whole bunch of photos, and you just take the negative strip and just run them through and get a bunch of photos spit out the other end. And I don't need anything that's like, beautifully mastered and color corrected, but I would like something that is, good enough. All right, well this is a blurry photo. I'll see if I can find the negative. That's me this is my high school graduation trip. We went to Hershey Park, and I have some pictures of that here. This is from the June of '94, and I think I have the negatives in here too. So these have a little bit more color in them. So I'm trying to. Yeah, let's try one of these. So this is my friend Dave here. He was looking at stuff. So let's put that one in real quick. All right, so we're going to put that in here. There we go. I'll show you what I'm doing here. Load that one in here. And what we're going to do this time is the same thing we did before, which is not use their app, but use the Apple Photos app. And what you can see is that negative poking through there. And let's pop the phone open here and see what we get. All right, so I'm going to get the phone down on top of this, and we got to get the thing aligned. Now, what I'm going to do is put the 2x lens on here again, because there is some distance here. And there you go. You can see we've got Dave in the picture, and we'll get that aligned better. Okay. Now, when I had my cable access TV show back in the day as a kid, Dave was my first guest. My friends had a band. I'm going to try this. I'm going to darken it up a little bit, and let's take the picture. All right, so now we've got a shot. That's the photo, and I'm going to airdrop this back to my computer again. Now, what you could do is take a bunch of these and then go in and edit them later. If I use their app, it will automatically convert it to a positive. But as you saw, it was doing some weird stuff with the color, and we've got these phones that are so advanced at taking pictures, they should just rely on that logic, right? All right, so let's copy this over to the MacBook here, and let's see what we get. But Aware24 says, nice live. I'm glad you're enjoying this. Yeah, this is fun, because this is, what would happen before is that I would get something like this in, and you wouldn't see any of this. And if it's not great, is it worth me making a video about? I found over the years that people don't like to watch things. I mean, unless they like me beating up on products or whatever, they prefer to see not glowing reviews of stuff. But I think there's some things that just don't work. You know what I mean? And so having a 20-minute review of why if there's no redeeming value of something, then it's just something that I don't like to waste more time on. But in this environment, we can do something more interesting. All right, so let's load this up here. And that's, by the way, another distinction here about the company. And this is something you'll notice on here. So, yeah, I'm going to zoom this way up to the top of the camera here if you can see it. So you see how it says distributed by C&A Marketing Incorporated? Actually, it's interesting. They're in Edison, New Jersey, which is the home of Kodak. So maybe this might be coming from the main company. I don't know. Most of the time, these Kodak products, the cameras, these things, they license the logo. It's another company that makes it, and they license this so that it's familiar. And this branding, when I saw this, now I know better because I've been following tech products for a while. I was like, oh, this looks, I mean, right? The brand is correct. The branding is on. So, you know, let's say my mom is on Amazon and she's got the big box of photos here like I got. And she's like, hey, I'm going to buy this Kodak thing because I know the brand. Doesn't mean it's bad. It just means that it's not, you know, it's not the company you think it is. It's some other company making things on behalf of. All right, so let's go back to, oh, Kodak is in Rochester. You're right, John. That's correct. So that's the example. So they're out of a different city altogether, Edison, New Jersey. My last job had a warehouse in Edison, New Jersey. That's what must have sprung in my head. All right, so we're going to just rotate the canvas here 90 degrees to the left. There we go. And let's make that a little bit bigger. And now we'll just do a crop. And again, I used the 2x lens on the iPhone to take this one. And we'll crop that. And then we'll drop in that invert filter. And this Mac, by the way, is super slow because it is old. Yeah. And this is the iPhone's fault. And you know, remember, the iPhone thinks it's taking a picture. So this is going to need some more work on the color. So now let's try something else. Let's try their app now and see if we get a better first image. And maybe there's more going on with this app than I think there is. So let me go back in here and load up the Kodak app. And let's go to color positive. All right, so there we go. Yeah, so it's using the wide angle lens and then it's doing some digital zooming here. Which that to me is not good because, oh, I'm sorry, I did color positive. I got to do color negative. Color negative, there we go. Actually, you know what, that looks, it's funny. That looks a little better right out of the gate than what we just got from the iPhone camera. But it's still like super saturated. So I can dial back the saturation a little bit. But the problem is I'm just not getting, and I have the original picture here too, so let me show you what the original looks like in a second. So if I go back, these are like real moments in time here too. So I actually have the original photo of him looking at that. I hope he's not watching now. I don't think he'd mind. He looks much better now. Let's see. Let's go through the photos here. So what happened was none of us were big fans of roller coasters, so we just went around and did all the games and stuff. And I brought my camera. I must have brought my Nikon camera with me. So I guess I don't have the original print of that. Huh. Interesting. Okay. So it's hard to gauge. And I was not the best photographer back then, especially with color. So, you know, that could be about the extent of what we're looking at. All right. So maybe we'll try a few more and see what we get. That one's not as bad. But again, I think the detail is kind of lacking there. All right. So let's grab another. A lot of people are watching. This is great. Let's pull this out. And let's grab, let's see. I've got some other ones here. Now what happened was I had taken so many pictures back in this period of time and I didn't get all of them developed. And there were some issues getting the film, like initially when I was first playing with these cameras, getting the film loaded properly and that sort of thing. So, but these are all from like the same time period. I took a ton of pictures. So these were from my freshman year of college. Nothing bad in these. These are all pretty lousy. I'm just trying to find, like, you don't want to start off with bad photos. That's here. That's me. One of my friends took that one. So, and this was my dorm. This is my dorm complex. So this was the Smith dorm. And I think they were paying people back then to put signs up in their windows. This was like a stop smoking sign. That's pretty funny. All right, let's take a look. See what else we got. Now I do have some negatives. I think there's more negatives than there are photos here. So let's see if there's anything that's of interest here. trying to see if there's anything that's in the negatives that we lost the print for. Oh yeah, here's Johann. Okay, so let's try this one real quick. So we'll put this one in. And let me get it on the surface here. Okay, so there we go. So now we're going to take out this. And Honey C says, this is different than usual. Yeah, this is definitely different than usual. I do, you know, and part of it is that I've been on this quest, not necessarily for me, but I think for general consumers, because I know a lot of people have these things that have these negatives around, and they want to scan them in quickly. And I've been finding things over the years that can sort of do that, but not exceptionally well, you know, and so I've been on this quest. And this could just be the fact that a smartphone camera is just not designed, because they're definitely not doing any kind of advanced image processing here. And I'm just not getting the color that I'm thinking I should get. The other problem, though, let's take this picture and we'll see what kind of detail we can pull out of it. And I do have the ability in here to do some more, so I can do some exposure control. But these are like super rudimentary. There is some filtering, makes it even worse. So let's just take it as is. And this might be where you go to the Photos app. So let me pull up the Photos app here and we'll do some adjustments on it. I will say I really am becoming a very big fan of the Photos app. So, oops, so I got to rotate the photo real quick. So let me do that real quick and then I'll show you what I'm looking at here. So let's edit this. Edit. And let's adjust it to okay. And we'll hit done. And then I'll adjust it this way. And then what we can do here is do a little bit of cropping. Now this was another 94 picture, maybe 95. I think this might have been from our, well, that's pretty neat to kind of guess that where I wanted to crop. We had like this spring concert. It was in April, and it was super chilly. Actually, no, this is probably the fall when we first started there. Yeah, so let's take a look. Okay. Oh, look at that. Okay, so yeah, this was definitely the fall. And the reason why I know it's the fall is that there were student government elections. So David Bacall was running for a Senate, right. So this was the crazy thing. Like you could run to represent a complex, but at the time, like everybody on campus voted for every senator. It was kind of weird. Yes, this is definitely the fall when people will be running for student government offices. Okay, so if we go into, let's take a look at the color settings here. Apply the contrast a little bit. Right, here we go. So saturation, vibrance. Yeah, I think I need to bring this into like a better photo editor. But this is the problem, is that I want it to, you know what I mean? Like if you brought this in to get it printed, you'd have a certain balance of color that this is not getting. And if I hit the auto here, it tries its best to do a little bit with it, but not great. I thought there was a color setting on, here it is. It's what we want. These are the filters. You know, you might be able to find a filter that works and then kind of work it from there. So that vivid cool kind of works. And you can kind of adjust it that way. But I'll show you though, you don't get a lot of detail in there. And that was our dorm. Oakham dorm was our dorm room, our dorm building. Pretty funny. Now here's a funny story for you. So Johann here was from Puerto Rico, and we had a foreign language requirement in college, and you had to take at least one foreign language class. I'm probably going to out him here, but he took Spanish, and he told them he was German. And then they asked him to speak German, and I don't think it worked. But he was in the class for like half the semester. I don't know how they... I don't know what they did there, but it was kind of funny. All right, so let's turn that off for a second. See if I can find some more. So it's not bad. If you do an auto color in Pixelmator, it'll make a big difference. The color of the 20-year negative is not going to match what you get in a print. So Dom suggests that we do the auto color in Pixelmator. So let's do that real quick. And I'll forward that over to Pixelmator. So what I'll do is I'll back out of the changes that I just made on the image. That's the other nice thing about Apple Photos is that I use the iCloud syncing. So every edit you do is non-destructive. So I can hit revert here, and it will revert right back to the original photo. So let's fire this over to Pixelmator, and we'll see if it, we'll see what it does with it. So auto color, we'll try that. All right, it's going now. Okay, so we'll go jump back over to the MacBook. And I'm not good at this color stuff to begin with, as far as doing color matching and stuff, so, or color grading, all the things that video people do. Hence my set, it never changes. You know what's so funny about the set is I get so many comments about the set. And they run, I kid you not, they run 50-50. Some people are like, never change it, I love the set. And then others are like, change the set, you're never going to get any viewers if you don't change the set. And that's kind of the direction it goes in. So let me pull this up for you all real quick. Okay, so we're going to go 90 degrees left. And I'm going to crop out the image here a bit. Now remember, this is what we scanned with their app, not with the Apple Photos app. And hopefully Johan doesn't mind me doing this. He might tune in. He might see this somewhere in one of his feeds. Okay, so we did that, and now we want to find the auto color. So let's go move this out of the way here. Yeah, Pixelmator is a good app. I did this here. I guess some auto enhance, I think, is probably what we want to use. Let's try that. So let's drop that in. Let's see. Ooh, that's not bad. Actually, that's pretty good. It sharpened it up a bit too. You can almost read everything here. And I think if, and that's what I mean. If it was like, if we had run this through like a regular slow negative scanner, I could probably get more detail out of these things. But I still, Dave Bacall's on my Facebook still. Johan is there too. And there's a Game Sunday. Yeah, this is 1994. This is good old days. That's the Firebox Greek Expo. You can browse the different fraternities and sororities. Yeah, cool. All right, so let's try a few. Let's see what else I can find in here. I got a little bit more time. So let's bear with me here for a minute. So that's good. I think I'm going to do that. So the workflow here was we scanned it with their app and then dropped it into Pixelmator. So maybe what we do is, I think I still have one of those images from before. I do. I have. Hang on, I'm just looking for that image we just took when we did earlier. So I have, yeah, there's the one with Dave. So let's try the Dave picture again, because that one was done with the iPhone camera on 2x. So we should be able to pull more detail out because we used that one. So what we're going to do here is just crop that image. But here's the problem, is that we're starting to get into, let's edit in detail every frame that goes through. So I would love to get some feedback from you. What I want, here's what I want. I want something that costs like less than $500 that I can load in a string of negatives and get a bunch of pictures out of it that look, and I want the pictures, and this has been the thing. Now look, I know I have a rudimentary understanding of color and photos and stuff, but what I want is I want the pictures to go through the thing, and I want them to look like this. That's what I want. That's what I would like to see. Incidentally, my wife used to work at a 1-hour photo place. So she knows a thing or two about photos as well. All right, so we got that in there. We're just going to rotate the canvas here 90 degrees to the left. All right. And now we have to do two things here. We need to invert the image to get, there we go. And now let's try the auto enhance and see how it, did okay. Now it could also be that I took a lousy picture. So that's the other factor here. And you can see some of the problems with the negative. Like some of the emulsion got scraped off of it. Yeah, it wasn't a good picture. You can see it's actually, he's kind of blurry there, so I had a low shutter speed. That was a low light problem there. And what was amazing was when I started taking pictures on digital, how much faster I was able to start learning photography and do better, because you know, the workflow, if you call it that, back when I first started taking pictures, again in the early, I was taking pictures a lot, but I really got serious about photography when I was in high school, and we had a very small group of us. I had a very small high school. There was a small group of us that started doing photography, and we were doing our own negative, our own black and white developing, which was awesome. And here I don't have any negatives from these. These are kind of fun. So when I was in college, my senior year, oh, this is actually a neat photo, actually. I was the student body president, and so this picture was from one of our meetings. That's my VP right there. That's Ricky. I forgot what his position was. And then this guy is Peter Io. Now, he was on the board of regents at my school, but he was also the CEO, or or either he was the CEO or he was a recent CEO of Lego. And Lego was in Enfield, Connecticut, and I went to school at the University of Hartford, and we were having a meeting to interview new university presidents, and that was what that was from. Like I said, I can look at a picture and remember exactly what was going on. It's weird. I can't remember what I did yesterday, but I'm just trying to see if there's anything else of interest in here. I'm going to find any other ones. That's pretty cool. All right, so let's see what's in this one. That's the same one we were looking at before, and I'll find a few more. Got a super chat came in from Acer Corporation, wondering if I would do more on Twitch. You know, I should do more on Twitch, and here's what I'm thinking about doing. Is once my internet connection gets upgraded, I will probably do more of this multi-streaming thing, although Twitch doesn't like when you do that, so I'll have to check with them and see how they want it to go. But I'm not like a gamer, so I know that Twitch has the creative stuff. I'm wondering if this would work on Twitch. So I'd love to get some feedback from all of you on that. John Moshi says, color is hard to get right, that is for sure. Any suggestions for best TV brand for best accurate color reproduction? Well, I will say that I am very happy with my LG OLED TV. Whether or not that is the best color, I have no idea, but it looks good to me. Like, it's amazing. I'm just trying to see what else we got here. So here's some more. So this one, yeah, this looks like a fun one. Let me see if I can find something decent. I'm actually trying to find pictures of like my old tech setups, because I used to, and I still do today, I would take pictures of my tech setups back in the day. I found a Polaroid recently of my PowerBook and my Newton together. That was a kind of a fun photo. I got to find it again. I'll share it with you all one of these days. So let's see. Trey Ops occasionally shoots on film, and if he wants to get them developed the same day, he has to drive to the other end of town to an old camera shop to get things developed. Yeah, it's amazing how fast everything fell apart, right? Once the digital got good enough. So I had a digital camera that I bought in 1997, and it was the Kodak DC-120. This might be a cool one. So I'm just going through this one. So these are some photos of a family vacation to Las Vegas and the Grand Canyon. This is my brother Josh, who's much older now. This was probably 97, I think is when we took that. There's the Hoover Dam. That's pretty cool. This is my sister and my brother and my sister. Yeah, this was Treasure Island in Vegas. So we stayed in Vegas, and then we went out to the Hoover Dam, and we went to the Grand Canyon also. That was pretty neat. That was a fun trip. I'm just trying to find like something good that we can scan in here. Oh, look at this. So this must have been from a trip that I took. This is 110 film, which we might be able to squeeze in there. I gotta see if I can find the negatives. But we took a class trip in junior high school to New York City. I don't have a date on this, but I'm guessing this is probably 89, 88. So I remember we took a ferry ride, which was kind of cool. We went to the Statue of Liberty, too. Oh, here we go. Now, I don't have a negative for this, but look at that. That's my Apple IIc, and this is running the Haley project. And this was like a astronomy navigation. This was February of 1988. So 30 years ago. And that was my setup. So I had that's my bedroom. I had my floppy disks. I didn't have that many, right? Because even the blank disks were expensive. So I had like a little tray of floppy disks there. Had the computer set up. There was probably a printer somewhere off camera. And the Halley Project was a fun game because you had to navigate using stars. Kind of similar to that. So Rerez says, I need to be on Twitch. I got to start doing more with Twitch. I just don't, I'm so old and set in my ways now, I don't even understand any of these newfangled things. Because I downloaded TikTok the other day just to see what that was all about. Not that I'm going to do TikTok. I have no talent for that. I should not be touching these negatives this way, but they're all like scratched up already anyhow. All right, here's somebody getting buried in sand. Yeah, I'm not sure what these are about. The good news is I have no inappropriate photos in this box, so there's nothing to worry about. I think it's my brother. Let's see. Let's take a look and see what this one's all about. I'm just curious. So we'll put this one in like so. We'll turn the box back on and see what we got here. We may not take a photo of this one, but for some reason I've got 630 people watching, so there's definitely some interest in what we're doing here. Okay, so if you're just tuning in, I bought this cardboard photo box on Amazon the other day, and it's kind of fun. So what you can do, and I'll pull up my overhead view here. So what you can do is you take your smartphone out and you put it over this little hole and you take a picture and it'll scan the picture. So we're going to say color negative. That's what we have. Get it lined up here and let the camera come into view. I do think it's kind of cool. It does that. It does like a little shimmy there. So I think that's my brother getting buried by one of his friends in the sand at the beach. That's what that looks like. I don't even know who that is. Is that Seth? I think it might be the neighbor's kid. I don't know. Actually, I think that is. Is he giving the other kid the finger? I don't know. Huh. I don't know who those kids are. That one's less interesting than I thought it was going to be. Let's see. We'll find a few more here and see what we can come up with. But it's pretty simple. It's just a piece of cardboard. It won't last all that long, I don't think. You got to keep it safe. The good news is that the box is the product. So the little switch to turn the light on and off is right on the bottom of it. So you can easily store it. And my issue is just getting the color right from the photos that you're taking with it. Let's see if I can find some other neat things in here. Yeah, this one's a mess because there's like just a mishmash of pictures in here. So here's my, so back in the late 80s, right when Star Trek The Next Generation went on air in 1987. And then about 2 or 3 years later, Galoob released a bunch of toys, and we got the phaser. So my brother's playing around with the phaser there. That's kind of fun. Here's Disney World. See? What was that one? I'm not sure when that one was. I'm just trying to find more tech photos. And that's my friend Christian and this is my friend's brother and also my friend James. So James is now like 30-something with kids. It's funny how time flies, right? Let's see what else we got here. Yeah, I haven't gone through these photos in a long time. Now, who are these? So, oh, you know what these are? I think, well, this is kind of fun. Okay, so these are autographs from hockey players. And I don't remember, so these are like Hartford Whalers. But I think, yes, look at that. I gotta frame this. This is Gordie Howe. And I remember my friend's dad had season tickets to the Hartford Whalers. I think that's him, Gordon Howe, right? My friend had season tickets to the Hartford Whalers, and there was some like dinner that they got invited to, and he went and got me a bunch of autographs from the players, and I think that's Gordie Howe. Because I remember I had a Gordie Howe signature. Isn't that cool? He's a legend. I got to make sure I do something with that. That's cool. Eric is wondering if I have it. So Eric is asking about STN photos. So Eric and I were involved with the campus TV station, and he wonders if I have any photos. I have digital photos of that. And those are on Facebook. If you go on my profile, you'll find those there. I don't think I have any film pictures. This is me. I don't know what year this is. It's probably when I was about my daughter's age. Isn't that funny? Don't tell my daughter, but she kind of looks like me. Let's see if I can find some more in here. So these are, what are these of? Ah, you guys want to see what McDonald's looked like back then? So this is, so we took a class trip. So this was funny. So we had a really small high school. It was just small because there wasn't a lot of kids back then in our town. So I had like 26 in my graduating class. And my photography class was all of 4 people. And what we did is we discovered that there was a Western civilization class going to New York City to the museum. So we just tagged along on their bus. We got on their bus and we went to New York with them. And we did a whole day of photography. And so we went on a totally different track versus the rest of the school that day. But let me find, yeah, I'll put this back in position here so I can show you what I'm looking at. So we have these, we still have them here in Connecticut. We have these rest stops on the highway. Let me zoom that in. There we go. Yeah, so that's all of us going to McDonald's. See that? That's pretty funny. Let's see if I can find anything of interest from that trip. Here's another one. I'm just going to pull these out and pop them in, and you can see what some of these look like. And hopefully my friends don't mind me sharing these images. I always warn them they'll be on Facebook. See, okay, so look, this picture looks good. So let's scan this one real quick. So that's my friend Matt, and that's Kelsey next to him. So let's grab that real quick. So we're going to take a photo. And I'm just going to, again, dump this right over to Pixelmator like we did before. And let's see what it can do with that. And we'll see how that comes out. So let's go out to my photos here. And grab that picture and fire it over there. Again, it's definitely oversaturating. And you know, I think that's what they think people want, is an oversaturated photo. So let's see, I'm just going to copy this over with AirDrop, and we'll try that out real quick. Okay, there we go. So let me go back to Pixelmator here. And let me pull it up on the screen so you can see it. And we'll grab that one. And again, we will rotate the canvas. So this was a good photo, and I probably, and you know, back then you didn't know what you took until you got home and developed it, or sent it off to develop. I never did any color developing. But the light on this is good because you can see the light coming in from the side. I mean, the photo isn't that good, but the lighting is good. And then let's drop in that auto enhance and see how Pixelmator deals with that. Well, that's pretty good. Yeah, that desaturated it a bit. So let's take a look at the detail. Yeah, detail's not bad. And again, this is probably 93 or 94, but Matt still looks the same. I see him all the time. He's one of my good friends. Kelsey I don't see because she moved out of town, but she used to live across the street from my wife. That came out pretty nice. That's a good picture. Okay, so let's see what else I've got in the box here that's a negative. And then, let's see, we got, I'm just going through some of these here. I've got like negatives all over the place, so I'm sure I've got more. But that one was probably the best one I've seen so far on this. Trey Pop says he wished the app would have some kind of auto cropping. Yeah, you know what it's doing and that's why I kind of switched back over to the iPhone's app, is that it's doing a digital crop and zoom off of the wide-angle lens on the iPhone. And that's problematic because any kind of digital zoom is going to eliminate detail, and that to me is a non-starter sometimes. Let's see what else we got here. So many random negatives in here. That's just something. Oh, here, this is cool too. So talk about sports. So when I was in first grade, my daughter's age, my grandparents lived in Brooklyn, New York. So my father and mom, we went into New York to visit my grandparents, and my father got tickets to a Mets game. And we showed up at the game. We didn't have good seats. We had seats way up in the rafters at Shea Stadium, and the game was televised. And we showed up, and this guy comes up to us. He worked for the team apparently, and he hands us this ticket. Look at the price. This is 1982, September 1982. The Mets versus the Phillies. I think the Mets lost that night. And what happened was they were trying to fill up the stadium and make it look more filled. And so where we sat was right behind the press, right on the first baseline. I remembered it vividly because the players were, I'd watched baseball on TV, and I was a first grader. The players were huge, right? It was insane. But I kept the ticket. Couldn't believe it. Like it was like the first baseball game I ever went to. That's what we ended up getting, and we didn't pay for this ticket. Like I said, the guy was, the seats were empty, so they wanted to have the seats look filled for TV. And I got on TV a couple times. My mom saw me on TV. It was awesome. Isn't that cool? So I hang on to all this stuff. It's kind of a box of mementos here. Let's see what else we've got in the box. Here's some more here. Let's try to see what these are. Some more black and white stuff. Oh, I found the print from that first shot we were messing around with. Actually, the scan looked better. Look how washed out the print looks. So we did okay on that one. I think these must have been prints that I did myself. And that was the other thing when you were doing photography and doing your own developing. Yeah, this was my own developing. When you did your own developing, you had a couple of variables. You had the exposure that you did on the original photo, but then when you were printing the photo onto paper, so you can see I was experimenting here with a couple different exposure levels, because the paper had to be exposed as well. So you could have a bad negative and not be good, but an overexposed negative wasn't always a good place to start from. But if you had kind of a darker negative, you could make it lighter based on the exposure level to the photo paper. And so that was always fun to play around with. Oh, this is funny. I don't know if there's a negative for this. I took a shot of a computer screen. Y'all remember Strike Commander? That was an airplane game on the PC. And this was the demo. I was so into that demo that they had because it looked really cool. Let's see if there's anything else here of interest. Yeah, nothing much. The same stuff we saw before. But there are some negatives in here that I don't think go with what we had in the other one. Let's see. Yeah, it's all just stuff. Yeah, we drove to, so we had a photography project. These are color, huh? We had a photography project and we drove to a bunch of state parks. This one might be interesting. There's a little bit of color in a otherwise bland photo. I live in a very beautiful area, but when it's like winter and there's no snow on the ground, it's just kind of bland. There's no real color anywhere. So here's something that'll be of interest. So there is, and I'll see if you can see it on the overhead. You probably can't see it there. Let me go back to the scanning app. So let's go home, and we're going to do a color negative. Let's get that camera aligned. There we go. I will say there's one neat little thing, and I don't think this is an intentional thing that they did, but you can see right now I've got this big block of nothing here. Watch what happens when I tap on it. The image kind of like comes in. It just kind of, I don't know if they did, I'm sure they didn't do that on purpose, but I think it looks pretty cool. Yeah, so this is just the side of the road. Get that line there. Let's see what Pixelmator can do with this. That's my friend Matt there again. So grab that shot, and we'll drop this over to Pixelmator real quick. Yeah, so it scanned. So this is interesting. So it put a real red tint on it. Oops, see that? Super red. So let's see what it looks like when we bring it over. So I'll just do another airdrop, and we'll just do a quick thing there. Let's see what that looks like. And I've got probably another 20 minutes I can go here before I got to get prepared for the family's arrival. Okay, so let's go back into Pixelmator real quick and take a look at that. So we've had some good outcomes and some not so good outcomes here, and I need to charge my laptop up because it's starting to run out of juice. And why isn't the laptop charging? Bear with me for 1 second, folks. My laptop is running out of juice. Oh, it's because I have the wrong thing plugged into it. And let's plug that in there. Okay. There we go. So yeah, this will be kind of a fun thing to start putting on Twitch. So my plan, by the way, I think I was partially in the middle of answering that question. So my plan is that when the internet connection gets improved for the upstream, today we're having a good day. Last week we had a bad day. But when the internet connection improves, I will try to stream out to more locations. So right now I'm doing Amazon and YouTube. And I could go to Twitch with my Amazon setup here, but the other problem is managing all of that chat coming in from all of the different locations. So that's something I want to manage a little better too. All right, so we got that cropped, and we're going to just go layer, let's see, image, rotate canvas, 90 degrees left. Yeah, so now let's drop in the auto enhance and see if it improves that color, because it's super red right now. Oh wow, that did a nice job, didn't it? So Dom really hit the nail right there. But you can see we just don't have the detail, right? It's like that sign is all wacky. I don't think the sign should look like that. Let me move these things out of the way real quick here. And that's my Ford Probe that we were driving around in. So this is on, I think this is on Route 80 in Connecticut. There's a little state park right in there. Huh, looks pretty cool. So, I mean, if nothing else, you can kind of figure out what these photos look like back in the day with one of these things, right? So those are those. I may do another one of these streams and just go through some old photos. I've got like binders. I have binders of black and white stuff upstairs. So I got plenty of that. So let me see what else I can find in my box here. This one's kind of funny. So we had the National Guard every year does like this big military. I don't know if they do it anymore, but they do a big military demonstration, and it's kind of neat. You get to see how all the equipment works, and they do a little infantry demo with guys jumping out of helicopters, and they take your picture. So the guy said, I remember this, he's like, you got to look mean. He took a bunch of pictures. He said, I didn't look mean enough. So I just looked angry. That's kind of funny. All right, let's go and see what else I can find. Lon.TV says, how come there's no bullet holes in that deer sign? I bet you there probably were, but you couldn't see them because the detail didn't scan in. So Lon.TV says, do you think the type of light inside the Kodak device could be influencing that reddish color, meaning it's an LED, halogen, incandescent, each of those light? Yeah, it looks, in looking at the light, it looks to me like it's definitely an LED with a diffuser in front of it. It does look a bit cold, actually. doesn't look warm. I don't know what the color temperature is of it. I probably could measure that if I had a device that does those sorts of things. So I have to look into that. That sure does make a difference. I mean, the light that's going through it. And by the way, different films had different tints to them as well. So I had a film that I played around with called Ektar, which was like super expensive, and it had a really rich color to it. So different films would look different as well. So you had that as part of it. Just going through some stuff here. So this picture, I don't have a negative for this. This is from a New Haven Nighthawks game. They've torn down this Coliseum since then, but that was probably the rowdiest hockey I ever went to in my life. There was a whole section of just the rowdy. It was so much fun, like the rowdiest fans you'd ever see. It was really cool. Let's see. There's my car. Yeah, that was that same day that we took that other photo with the deer sign. We went out and did like a whole big photo drive. And then this is one of those things you wouldn't realize until after the photo was developed. So I was still learning about shutter speed when that one was taken. Red Rash says he checked the cost of gigabit internet where he is $96. Yep, it's always cheaper everywhere else but where I live. Unfortunately, that is the deal. So let's see what else I can find for negatives here. See if there's anything good in these. Oh, this one looks interesting. Let's see. Ah, yeah. Here's a fun one. So this, because it's funny, I stopped doing film photography right around the time that I got my husky, my first husky. And here she is. Let's take a look at one of these. So let's switch this back on here. So these are some photos of my first husky, Sophie. This one might be a fun one. Here's one of her face. This one might be good. She was a good dog. She was a challenging dog. Huskies are challenging already, but my first one was super challenging because she was an alpha, and she was constantly testing you. Like she was always trying to get an angle on you, even though you're supposed to be the boss, right? There she is. She was a pretty dog. All right, so let's take a shot of that. She's very young in that picture. So there we go. I'm going to grab that one, and then I'll see if there's anything else in this batch here. And that's what I kind of like. See, like this notion of being able to quickly jump through pictures. See how saturated that ball is? Now I guess you can turn down. Okay, I'll turn down the saturation a little bit. Or it's more of like a tint control. Yeah, I guess there's some adjustment. Yeah, this is not bad. I think I might do a little extras channel video about this. Grab that one there. That one's kind of fun. Let's see what else we got. So John Motion wants to know if I have any baby pictures. I do have baby pictures, but those are at my mom's place, so she's got a bunch of those. In fact, you know what I should do? My father took a bunch of real film, not video, but motion film back in the day, and so there's a lot of that out there too. Oh, here's a good shot of her. Let's try this one. Let's pull this one up. Let me go back to my phone here. Back to the camera. So here is, this is a good shot. She was a pretty dog, Sophie. Most Huskies are, but she was a pretty dog. Okay, so look at that. There we go. Yeah, this one I definitely have a print of. And what's amazing is their coloring changes as they age. So this dog, by the way, she made it to 17, if you can believe that. That one doesn't look bad. So let me copy this one over real quick, and we'll see how that one comes out. Lawn Dog says you got to mess with the saturation before you take the photo. I think that's right. You really got to mess with that before you push the button on it. I think the problem is that consumers don't have a good sense of this. And like, here's my fear, is that what I don't want is that people are taking these pictures and then they're throwing out the negatives or figure, oh, I'm done with it, we're good. But you may not be taking the best archival photo of your negatives, right? So, and I think there's a space where somebody could come up with a real killer app or killer device that could just, because we have all this automation within our phones. Like, think about how good this computational photography has become on our phones. And it would be great to have a scanning device to do that. And I'll be perfectly honest with you, it is rare now that I take out my digital SLR. I am mostly taking pictures with my phone, partly because of the convenience, but also because the image quality is so good. I'm finding myself not editing photos that frequently that come off my phone. And that to me is partly why I spend so much I don't spend that much time on my SLR anymore. And I haven't bought one. So I bought my SLR that I have now, my Nikon. I have a D600. It's a nice camera. But I bought that back in 2012, right before my daughter was born. Bought it in anticipation of my daughter's arrival, my first daughter. And I haven't felt the need to buy another one. And it does 1080p video, it's all the good stuff. I got some nice Nikon lenses for it. I mean, it's a really nice camera. But I just haven't felt like I need to, I just don't take it out because it's so much. You got to take the camera out, you got to take the picture, you got to get the photo loaded in, you got to edit the photo. So that's been kind of the deal there. So yeah, it looks like a little on the red side, just like this one was. It's funny, even now, that other one looks a little red again. So let's go back to our effects real quick. But I think what I'm getting at is I think there needs to be something affordable for consumers that consists of a device and some smart technology to kind of make this process simpler. That doesn't look bad. This is actually a nicer photo. That's pretty good. I wonder what I took with, I must have taken that with my Nikon, but it looks better than, it's definitely a flash that was used. You can see the shadow back there. She had a blue eye and a brown eye. She was a pretty dog. Very, like I said, very alpha, always testing. It was interesting. Just reading some comments here. Yeah, so Oliver says, doing my best, but it's a nice thing. Yeah, I'm not trying to sell this thing. I just bought it because I was curious. Because like I said, I've been on the lookout for something that's super convenient and super easy. And like I said, this isn't bad, but it's not doing what I expected it to do. Let's see if I can find anything else of interest here. Oh, here you go. You want to see some old tech? This is a Polaroid, so there's not going to be a negative here. Check this one out. This is my Newton 110 and my HP laser. So we had an HP LaserJet for my dad's business. So this was, I remember this whole setup. So we bought the HP LaserJet for his business, and then we got a scanner. And I think that card was the scanner interface card. How about that for a classic tech photo? And this is probably 93, 94. And we hooked it up. We had a computer guy locally who was building PCs for us. He built a 48650. That was a monster machine. That was super fast. And we were trying to do like product catalogs and stuff, and I realized I was not a graphic designer at that point. Oh, here's something of interest. These are 110 strips, which I don't think, this doesn't support the 110, but you might be able to, there's not much of an image on any of these things. So this is from that New York trip. Oh yeah, look at that. So this is the, so remember that photo we had of the Trade Center? This is it right here. Let's see if I can get it on the light box here. Now again, this is not going to be ideal because this is a 110 strip. And this doesn't do 110, it just does slides in 35 millimeter. Let's turn on the light box again here. See if we can coax an image out of this. So let's take a look. So Lon.TV says his brother's been doing photos for years. He's got boxes and boxes of negatives. Yeah, I think if you've got a lot of negatives, then it might make sense to, this is the 110 photo, by the way, 110 film strip. So yeah, it doesn't do well with that because it's reflecting back, as you can see, because there's no way to like keep it flush to the, so there's some light reflecting on the emulsion or the other side of the emulsion. And then that image was a bit washed out to begin with as well, so that one may not work as well. And I think that comes down to, and so Lon.TV has his brother's old camera equipment. So my father actually collects old cameras. So he's got a lot of old cameras and stuff, which is pretty cool. And I got a lot of old stuff in here. These are 110s. Yeah, I have one of those Silverfast, I think that's what they are. Or that might be the software. There's another Trade Center photo in that one too. I forgot the name of that company, but we have, I have one of those scanners. Like I said, it was just so slow to take pictures on those things that it was really, you just couldn't get through it. Because like, look at this box of stuff I got. Like if I were to scan, and I'm not going to scan every photo, but if it takes you 3 or 4 minutes per shot, that's a long time. And not all these photos need like a lot of work, but you want to put them in a place where you can get a good quality image, So that's been part of what I've been trying to find something that's really efficient at. I did see, and I should get one of these in at some point. I did see an Epson printer that you could load up. It was a sheet-fed printer, but you could load up your photos in it. And it was at CES, not CES, one of my PepCom shows that I went to in New York. And I thought it did a pretty nice job. And it was doing with prints what I would like to see done for negatives, which was fast and a decent image. Something that wasn't going to make a bad image, in other words. So here's some more. This place, I forgot which developer this was, but they gave you, this is not going to be good for our purposes here, but they glued the negatives onto these little paper holders, which is not great if you've got a thing to feed it into, although I don't think there's anything decent on this strip here worth looking at. Let's see. I've seen all these already. Just shots of my brother back in the day. See if we can find anything else here. So what are these? Oh, this is a good one. This is when the fire trucks showed up at one of our dorm. Oh wait, is this yeah, let's take a look at this one real quick. So this was when some fire trucks showed up at the dorm building across the street from us. That might be kind of interesting. Let's see what that one's about. Let's put this in here. And we'll boot the app up again. I keep putting my phone to sleep. Well, I guess we got an hour and change out of this thing here. I wasn't sure we'd be able to do that initially, but it looks like it's starting to work okay. Okay, so there you go. So this is, let me position it so you can see what I'm looking at here. Yeah, the fire trucks would come out quite a bit. So we had one incident where, this is a tree. I don't know why I took a picture of a tree like that. Let's see the birds that were in it. So what would happen would be that people would be cooking something in their dorm room, which they weren't supposed to be doing, or the sprinklers would get knocked off the things. Yeah, not sure what happened there. They didn't stay that long. All right, so let's dial down that saturation real quick and see if we can do anything with it. I don't even know what kind of, I think this is just like a tint control. I don't think it's even saturation. Things are just saturated no matter what the tint is set at. But it's not like smartly trying to figure out what it should be, you know what I mean? So, yeah. I mean, it's good enough. It's kind of expensive for what it is, I think. $40 for what is essentially a light box is a bit much. So, yeah. Yeah, there's a lot to these things. And yeah, I mean, all of these negatives have, like what would be white is going to have the tint of red to it. That's correct. So that's probably throwing it off a bit. And I found, like with the Silverfast software that we were using and some of the prior stuff that we've done, you actually tell it what film you're putting in so it can adjust based on the film type. And most people use the same Kodak film for the most part. Oh, here's something interesting. Here's a little piece of Connecticut history. So I have a lot of memorabilia in this box in addition to photos. So my friend's dad worked at Electric Boat, which manufactured submarines. And there was a christening ceremony for, I think, the only Seawolf class submarine in the fleet, because the Congress cut all the Seawolf subs after this one. But it's still out there. It's a pretty advanced submarine. That was pretty cool. We went to a few where they would slide them into the water. They don't do that anymore, but they had them inside their big hangar, and they would cut a thing, and the sub would just slide into the water. It was pretty neat. Yeah, some other college ones here, nothing of interest. Cool stuff. Yeah, so, honestly, I was expecting about what we got here. I was hoping the app would be a little smarter than what it turned out to be. So, yeah, not terrific. By the way, this is, here's another neat one. This is from the Kennedy Space Center. So this was like one of their extra Saturn V rockets, I think, or that might have been the Saturn. I can't remember, but they put all the Saturn stuff inside now. They have an inside thing. So we'll see where that goes. All right, I'm going to take a few questions, and then we'll call it a day. This was a fun little experiment, though. You never know what you're going to end up with these things here. Any update on my internet situation? Yeah, so I did hear from them, and we're moving forward. The issue now is that they are not doing, and they're gonna figure out a way to make this work. But I guess they have, during the COVID thing, they have not been doing on-site installation work. So they have to do some extra code work or whatever with their I don't know. They're getting there. So I would expect that by September we should have this new connection ready to go. But I am not holding my breath based on all the stuff we're dealing with right now. But hopefully, so where I live in Connecticut, our numbers are really good. So we've been able to, I don't want to say it's under control, but it's at a point where we're looking at opening schools back up, and the infection rate is, I think it's under 1% on the testing that we're doing. We're doing a lot of testing, so I think we should be okay there. So I'm expecting that we'll be able to get, like I said, get this new connection in place by September, October, I think is the timeline. Lon.TV says, that's why Hollywood stores their film in special temperature-controlled environments so that the film will not, yeah. And that's the other thing, film has a lifespan to it too. So, and there are services that you can send your negatives out to. I haven't done this. We did do it with some film. So there was some film of my wife as a baby that they had, and we sent the reels off to one of these services, and they did a pretty nice job getting it converted. They sent us back although I will say this, and I forgot which service we used, but everyone's off for the subscription, right? So you send the thing off, you pay to get it converted, and I specifically remembered not checking the box for the subscription service that they were offering. So what they do is they scan it, And then they offer to store your media in perpetuity, provided you pay a subscription fee for them to store your media. I'm like, no, thank you. We're paying enough already for all the other storage that we have everywhere else. And they still charge me for it, which was not cool. But yeah, there are some services out there that will scan in bulk or do your photo stuff. So, but yeah, that's it. So it's a cardboard stand with a light box on it to scan your negatives, and I think that's pretty good. So we'll see how that goes. All right. So that is that. Yeah. So my thoughts on this? It's okay. I mean, if you want something quick and easy, yes. Image quality, not so great. And I'm guessing it's going to vary by the camera that you're using with it as well on the phone. And that's why so what I did is I've got a bunch of phones here, but the best phone camera that I've got is my iPhone 11 Pro, so that's the one we were using here. So we'll see, that's it. Yeah, so there we go. Mushroom says, why was this in my recommendation list? I don't know. 986 people are tuned in thinking this is interesting. I didn't think it would be all that interesting, but it turned out to be. I think whenever you've got an old box of stuff, you never know what you're going to find in there. And we did find some cool things. So what did we find that was of interest? We found a couple of old photos that were cool, but we also came across a autograph from Gordie Howe, the hockey player. That was fun. We found the baseball game ticket from 1982. That was cool. So good stuff. All right, everybody. Well, thank you all for tuning in. And the next one, I've got a couple more in the hopper. So hang on a second, everybody. There we go. I'm back. Okay. So this is why we need the new internet connection to prevent that from happening. Okay, so here's what I've got on the docket for future streams. My Sega Saturn. There we go. I think we're back up. My Sega Saturn. I've got a bunch of games on that disc emulator thing. So I want to go through and play some old Saturn games. That might be like a weekend evening one that I do. So that's on the docket. And then we also have this device that we were playing a little bit with on my last office hours session, which allows you to use a keyboard and mouse with a game console, and it's got a lot of depth to it. So I really want to start digging through that one. So that's going to be another one we'll be doing soon. So we'll see what that's about. Goran says, what is the weird dial thing on my phone case? Oh, yeah, so I think it's about the thunder outside. This phone case is a phone case by Catalyst, and the dial is used to turn on and off your silencer. So it turns the switch on it. And when I first got the case, it worked great, but now it's like really hard to turn. And I did review the case on my extras channel, and it wasn't doing this when I initially reviewed it, but this case they gave me before the iPhone came out. I saw them at a show. So I wonder if it's just the prototype case that's causing that, but that's why the dial is there. Nicholas Cheney's in Enfield, a bit north of you. You can get gigabit, yeah, and that's it. So most of the time when they offer you gigabit, it's gigabit down, and then it's 35 megabits up. Whoa. Whoa, that was a big thunder crash right there. It sounds like something like fell down out. I'm gonna go check on that in a minute. Yeah, some serious thunderstorms outside right now. So they didn't offer that option for me. So because the best they had is 12 megabits up with the quality that we have here. So that's been what we've been dealing with. It almost sounded like a tree fell down, not thunder, but I think if I look at the radar here, I think we're like in a huge red ball right now. So that's what's going on. All right. Good stuff. All right, everybody. Well, I'm going to go make sure that a tree didn't fall on my car out there, because when I got home earlier, the landscaper was out doing his thing, and I couldn't put the car in the garage, and now it's out, and I hope there's no tree on top of it. So we'll see what happens there. And good. All right, everybody. Well, thank you for tuning in. This was kind of a fun little different thing that we did today. And if you missed it, you can rewind and see us playing around with the Kodak mobile film scanner, a cardboard box with a light box on it. That's it. All right, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. I will be back again very soon. And I appreciate your support, and more to come. We've got a couple of reviews in the hopper. So I've got a review of the HP X360 14 coming up, and a whole bunch of other things happening. And you're right, Nicholas Cheney, it is 2020, and you think we would have better options. I think everyone being stuck at home, working from home, has really drove home the need for faster upstream and more reliable upstream communications. And I think there's going to be a lot more pressure on these companies to provide better upstream. That's my prediction. All right, everybody. I will see you all very soon, and have a great day. And I will be back again. I'll probably be back over the weekend with something. We'll see if we can get the kids out of the house, and we'll play some Sega Saturn. How does that sound? Talk to you soon.